and welcome to AGK Media. I'm Shelley Carney.
And I'm Toby Eunice. Thanks for joining us tonight. Stick with us a couple of seconds, and we'll have some fun with pictures, maps, emails, text messages, voicemails, and a lot of other things happening tonight. So stick with us. We've got a good night for you, we think. In the meantime, enjoy this song called Pink Flamenco. Here's Shelley. So, good evening, Miss Carney. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing super. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing real good. So, we got a lot to talk about tonight. So I've got some emails here that we're going to be reading. I have got some text messages that we're going to be reading. I got one voicemail from Heather Dawn, so I haven't heard it yet. So we're just going to go with it, Heather Dawn, and hope that Heather Dawn had a good day. And we've got some pictures from the DIA, the Detroit Institute of Art, that we want to take a look at. RF Hecky, Susie sent me some information about some maps that she wants answers for, and although she asks some questions, actually her questions generated more questions than answers, so I'm really interested to see where this all goes. And then of course we'll open up the lines so that if you have any additional questions, let me the reason I'm not looking at the camera right now is I'm trying to get make sure the stream is clean. Just give me 1 second so that I know you guys are getting a good stream. You are. Well, good. So I think what we'll do is mostly to allow me to get some time. You want to go through the room and say hi, and let's start answering questions. I guess. Where are you? Are you saying hi? Is that you? Yes. Is that your queenly hi?
I mean,
your
hi.
Royal hi. So scroll through, and I'll if you get any questions, let's answer them.
Are you plugged in? Because I'm getting scratchy sounds here.
I am not getting scratchy sounds. I sound good, and you sound good, at least to me.
Okay.
So if they say anything, if you guys hear any scratchy sounds, let us know. But I think we are going to be. I think we're okay.
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 Maybe it's just my my YouTube. Maybe I better close that.
Yeah. Yeah. That YouTube of yours just causes all kinds of problems. That's what happened last time.
Yeah, I'm going to pop out the chat and close the tube.
So while you're doing that, I want to apologize for Wednesday night. We wanted to do a panel Wednesday night, but honestly, we didn't get any responses from the panel members. I don't know whether it was the fact that it was the night before Valentine's Day and everybody had to go shopping for flowers or what, but we decided not to go with it. And then we were going to do a Fenndango, or I guess it's not a Fenndango since it's Friday. It was going to be a Wednesday night thing. And Shelley and I got busy with a project, and we realized we weren't going to be able to do it. So we apologize for that. We will be back next Wednesday, and I think what we've decided to do is just have another show on Wednesday evenings, and then about once a month put together a panel on a topic. We didn't really have much to talk about other than what we're going to talk about tonight, but I think we're okay. I think we'll be okay.
Okay.
So Go ahead and say hi.
All right,
Please.
Let's say hello to our friends who are here this evening with us. We have Tom K., Sledneck, William, Paul, he's in the UK, Sean Malloy, and he's not getting any sound, and your clock is faster. I don't know what that means.
Somebody advised him that that we weren't on yet.
Zozo Rock says we weren't getting any sound. He wasn't getting sound either.
But he was telling Sean that we hadn't started yet, that there was no sound. There was no sound to be had.
Okay. We have Karen Werner.
Toby Fan 3000, the better half of Toby Fan 3000.
Here's a question. If Toby broke a mug, would he leave a hook empty or hang an unmatched cup?
I actually have 3 spares of those cups. So if I did break a cup, I would have an immediate spare. They're both, actually I have 6 total. I have 3 green spares and 3 blue spares. So I have, if I did break a cup, I have a spare. I would not leave the hook undone.
All right.
That's a very personal question, isn't it?
You answer it all, don't you?
Yeah. Well,
John Werner is here.
Can we go back to
Want
Sledneck at the top?
to go back? Well, let's say hello first.
Okay, go ahead, and then I'll go
we'll
back.
go back to the top and answer
Got
questions.
it. All right. And don't forget, guys, if you have a question, please precede it with @AGK Media, so it highlights it in orange, as did Sledneck above, and that way we won't miss your question. It's hard to see them as they are scrolling through the chat room.
Then we have Tony F., Marty Bird, Kurt Hensley, Matt Bear, Mitzi Moore is here.
Mitzi Moore.
World famous gamer, David Dow, Davio. Davio's here. Davio's here. Davio's here.
Oh, Davio. RF Hecky, wait. RF Hecky? There we go.
All right.
I'm actually caught up on my entry songs. Go ahead.
All right. Then we have Greg Ferguson from Moab. Jason Hamilton says hello. Oops. Let's see. Okay, Larry. Hello from Florida. Minotaur Moreno is here. And Patricia Marin. Joe S.
Buenas noches, señorita.
Bill Cross from Texas. Jody Skopak.
That's a new name, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Eric Hendrickson from Boulder, Colorado.
That's not Jeep Girl Jody in disguise, is it?
How would I know?
I don't know. It should be in disguise.
I've been to Boulder. It's beautiful there.
No, Boulder is nice. That's where Jason went to school.
Yeah. Let's see. Jim Siri. Hello. Oscar Rodriguez. Eric Schmidt. Belva Jenkins from Chattanooga.
Chattanooga, Tennessee.
James Casey. Sakar is here. Jason Northface. Here's one. Pete Cheng Healy.
Where do you see that? I am missing that.
That's below Jason Northface down here. Pete Cheng Healy. Okay.
Okay, new.
And then my screen just jumped, so I lost my spot.
You want me to get it? I got after Peaching. Well, Zozo Rocks. I'll say J.A. Street.
J.A. Street
is in the room. Go ahead.
William Zimmerman. And we have FM 32526. FM 32526.
Field manual. That's a field manual.
Oh, Jerry from Kentucky.
United States Army Field Manual.
Okay.
On map reading.
And K-Pro is here.
Yo, K-Pro. I'm going to give her the Raven's Nest. K-Pro, that's all I got for you. We're going to, unless you got a better idea about what to do with this, because you're not exactly the Raven's Nest anymore.
Back to the top and ask those questions. Sledneck wants to know. AJK Media, any response to the Men Are So Smart show?
Well, to give a response, we would have to assume that they didn't use names, but one would have to, we would have to assume that they're talking about us. We don't necessarily believe that they're talking about us, but if they were talking about us, the implication is that their implication was that we found the treasure, and as evidence, there are some acquisitions that we have made that indicate that we'd found the treasure. So a couple of things. Number one, Shelley and I have always said and will stick to the idea that if we ever go looking for the treasure again and we find the treasure, we don't plan to look for it again, that we would maintain our anonymity and we would immediately inform the media with evidence that the treasure had been found and recovered. That didn't happen, and because we haven't found the treasure, we haven't informed the media, but we would if that were to happen. We do not have any plans to continue looking for the treasure. We made that decision after the sixth of 6 recons this last summer. The only way that we would go looking again for the treasure was that I had come up with a solution that gave me the kind of detail that I could trust to take my friends out there again, and I just don't have that. I don't know, warm water salt or as close as I get. That's a good guess, basically, but I have no idea what the other clues are, and I'm not going to force my friends to spend more time and money looking for a treasure of which I do not know the location. So, but if we were to find it, the media would know, and as a result of the media knowing, you would know. And if at the same time you read that the individual who found the treasure wished to remain anonymous, although I think a lot of people would do that, you could come to the conclusion that it was us, but we have not found the treasure. And so there are several things that I heard in their conversation about Smackwoods. I bought a truck, yes, but I bought that after our first recon in the Rio de los Pinos, which required a four-wheel drive vehicle. And that was way back at the beginning of the summer. That was in April. I am getting a house, but that was because getting a house will cost me $200 less a month than my apartment payment, and I had spent I'm letting you in on some of my secrets here. I had spent $90,000 in the past 7 years in apartment housing in a place that I wasn't planning on staying, but it has become obvious to me that I'm not moving on, that I'm staying here, so it was time for me to get a house. And the house is not a house. It's a $175,000 house. It's not a mansion. It is not on top of a hill. It's in a community. So it doesn't reflect actually somebody finding a treasure that they sold at auction for $8 million. As a matter of fact, you probably wouldn't see us again. We'd be off in someplace, cruising someplace. So, yeah, there's a lot of things wrong with their hypothesis, but and yes, I have been dressing up, and that was because, as Shelley will tell you, in Washington D.C., I spent 30 years there acquiring a lot of suits and shirts and ties that I was required to wear in order to do business in Washington, D.C. And since I moved here, they've been literally gathering dust in my closet. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to start wearing them. That's all there is. So, yeah. Comments?
Well, I have two things to say. Number one, I watched Men Are So Smart. I kind of like their show for this reason. They're respectful to people. They try to be a little bit controversial, but they don't go over any lines. They're always respectful, and I like that about them. So I want to say that. And they don't always have all the facts, but they do their best. They do try to research things, and they try to listen to people and their opinions. So I respect that about them. Number two, the treasure that Toby and I have found is that we have decided to do things that we enjoy and to do them more often. And I think that's the best treasure there is. So I hope that all of you will do the same.
Just do what you enjoy.
Do what you enjoy.
We enjoyed doing stuff, I thought it was really fun this year that Kevin, Shelley's husband, decided to learn to fly fish, to teach himself how to fly fish so that when we do go out, we could get some fly fishing in. And I'm looking forward to next summer taking some vacation with them and going to places where we can fly fish. So in Colorado and northern New Mexico. So Mitzi says, if I catch Toby near my chest, I'll snatch him up by that tie. Sounds like Mitzi wants a little motorboating action, huh? Okay, Larry says, hello from Florida. Minotaur Moreno, AGK Media. So, right or wrong, I'm convinced I now know where Warm Waters Halt is. From there, I'm lost. Makes two of us, brother. How far is you too far to walk, and why? Our too far to walk is we've said often that the entire trek from Clue 1 to Clue 9 for us is less than 1,000 feet. Our too far to walk is the riddle. And as an example, when I'm asked that, if you and I were standing on opposite sides of the river, you would not far from me, but you would be too far to walk. So we think of it as a riddle rather than a express or explicit distance. So, but yeah, it's not more than 1,000 feet. As a matter of fact, we're going to address that because one of the emails I got actually was a comment. And I'm going to read the entire comment because basically he, in his comment, gave us a solution. And I want to talk a little bit about the perception of this as a solution. So it is a constructive criticism, kind of like you'd get in college. Let's see. I don't see any more questions, huh? So RF Heckey's in the room.
Pete Sheng says he loved our I don't know if that's a man or a woman's name. Pete Sheng says he or she loved our Valentine's show, so thank you.
Oh, the softer side. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. We had a great time with it.
Yeah. Zoza Rock says, if Toby ran at the wall at light speed, would he pass through the wall? I don't know enough about quantum level physics to answer that question. Do you?
Yeah, well, because what happens is in order to run at light speed, you have to vibrate the atoms in your body out of synchronous with everything else on Earth. So yeah, you would pass through the wall without making so much as a... Haven't you ever seen Buckaroo Banzai? You need to watch.
Well, I think in the early 90s I saw it. How long ago was that?
Buckaroo Banzai, he created a machine that did exactly that.
Oh, interesting.
Davio
maybe he's saying you look like him. I don't know.
Oh,
Davio said what?
Davio said, looking good, Toby. Nice tie. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're doing lavender tonight. I hadn't worn lavender in a while, so.
World Famous Gamer says, the Little Drummer Boy channel won't be having any drumming videos until my drum pad gets here. I have a like page for it that has pics of me when I was little. I look like a Little Drummer Boy.
Wow. Well, we're looking forward to it. Zozo started with an AGK Media of Toby ran. Oh, okay. Oops, he says. A Little Drummer video. Let's see. I think that I didn't see any other questions. Don't forget if you guys do have any questions, please precede the question with @. That's the little squirrely squiggly thing. @AGK. So that we can recognize it. So Kpro says, just saying hi, but off for the night. Toby, time to admit you have the treasure. Ha ha. I have been getting questions about that too. Have a great Fenndango. Thank you. Yeah, if we would tell the world if we'd recovered the treasure, but we would remain anonymous. That's what we've always planned to do. Why is mine buffering? Your internet service provider, Greg.
William Zimmerman says, I'm pretty sure I have 8 of the clues, but have not found the treasure yet. Are you open to hearing solutions?
Yes, please post them here or send us an email so that we can read to the rest of the folks, because they always like hearing other people's solutions. Through any Spanish doubloons in that chest. Doubloons. I don't think so. I don't think he ever mentioned them. I thought he said they were all eagles or double eagles, which are American coins. Illinois Ghost is in the room. Hey, Illinois Ghost. Rick, how are you doing? World Famous Gamer. Let's see. I don't see anything else. Okay.
Matt Bear asks, why would anyone take up the Phantom's mask when Forrest passes? It makes no sense, being its forced thrill, not the next person. And what is the Phantom's mask?
I don't know. Don't know.
Man behind the mask, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Toby Fan 3000. Room, the wife can't do AGK Media on her iPhone or any at the popped up doesn't happen. Any idea why not? My Surface is no problem. At room, the wife can't do AGK Media on her iPhone or any
she
at
have
sign.
Chat on it?
Oh, I don't know. You know what? It could very well be that that because that's a YouTube Chrome kind of feature, the @ sign. So yeah. Just do the @ sign. We'll see the @ sign AGK Media. Okay.
Let's see. There's no @ Let's see. @
Copper Dan's in the house. Hey, Copper Dan.
AGK.
Are you doing it on your phone?
Oh, because it's not automatic.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Just do the AGK.
We'll see it. Yeah.
Good enough.
Okay, so you keep an eye on the room, and I'm going to start reading emails. Okay.
Okay.
Unless you want to throw in a comment.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is from Shane, and Shane says, "Hello, I wanted to ask."
Come back, Shane.
What did I miss? Where did that come from?
Come back, Shane.
Is that a movie?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a line from the movie. It's the only thing I know about the movie. It's not a line.
Copper Den says, "Hi, Toby and Shelley."
Hey.
Okay, so I want to ask if we know the exact, so this is from Shane. I
Mm.
wanted to ask if we know the exact location of where this was found. What was found? Oh, the Clovis Fenn cache. It's actually the
Mm.
Fenn Clovis cache. So he wanted to ask if he wanted to know the or if we know the exact location where it was found. Also, my theory is that he has hidden the treasure in the same way the Native Americans hid their caches, maybe in a rock shelter somewhere in a canyon wall. Would a rock shelter be a cave? So yes, a rock shelter could be categorized as a cave. I think. So the Native Americans were really good at putting things underground but not burying them, meaning they would dig a hole. As a matter of fact, he describes this in great detail in the the Secrets of San Lazaro. And he talks about finding objects that the Native Americans had left behind, but they didn't throw dirt upon them. They'd dig a hole, put things in the hole, and then put a stone on top of it. So it's very different from burying. We don't know exactly. So Fenn has two caches, or Fenn has talked about two caches. One is the Clovis cache, and I don't think anyone has ever said where exactly that was originally discovered. And then there's the Crooks County cache, which is also one of his, and of course that was discovered in Crooks County. But I think the Clovis cache was never actually. They never identified, and no one's ever identified where it was recovered, from where it was recovered. But those are funny little things because when they do, so the reason you'd find a cache like that is that there was a spiritual connection to it. They were using it as a mechanism for reaching out to Wakantanka, their version of the Great Spirit. And sometimes those things, when it was a spiritual thing, they were buried because you can read about a lot of caches that have been recovered, and they've been recovered as the result of people digging up foundations for houses and things like that. So, yeah, but they don't know where. Dale Neitzel has a, if you go to Dale Neitzel and search daleneitzel.com, and search Clovis cache. He's got something on there about it.
So I have a question in the room.
Yeah.
And Tony F., I believe, is a news searcher, and he's wondering what is the state that it is believed to be in?
The answer is whichever of the four states you want it to be in.
Well, like I said, he's a news searcher, but he
okay.
does not know the.
So Tony, we've done several different polls on this matter, and it breaks down in. Around 33% believe it's someplace in New Mexico, 33% believe it's someplace in Yellowstone, and the remainder are divided amongst the remaining 33% is almost equally divided between Colorado, Wyoming, not Yellowstone, or Montana, not Yellowstone. So if you ask that question in a room, you'll get a broad variety of answers, but that's what the research tells us. We've done two sets of research, one way back on a Gypsy Skizar blog, and one more recently on our Gmail account. So yeah, it breaks up. Everybody has an opinion. You ask any searcher where they believe it is, and it'll break down pretty much like that.
Sozo Rocks wants to know if anybody has tried remote viewing the treasure. Now, Toby sometimes sees places in his sleep, but if that was working for him, the treasure would be in Baltimore. So probably not working for us. We just don't have those powers, but if anybody out there does.
So I have amazing dreams. They're very detailed. They're very colorful. They're filled with characters that I recognize and that I don't recognize. But what's always interesting about my dreams is I know what city I'm in. And recently, a lot of my dreams have taken place in Baltimore. Boston is another favorite city. Washington, of course, is one. These are all cities that I've been in at one point in my life, for a variety of reasons, more than once. A lot of them. San Francisco shows up. What's funny is Albuquerque never shows up. Santa Fe, where I was born and raised, never shows up. It's always the East Coast cities. But the characters are just amazing, and the storyline. I was having one. I'm not going to go into dreams. I was having a dream the other night, and in the dream, I said to my sister, who appeared in the dream, who happens to have passed away 2-3 years ago, I said to her, you know what? This has all the characteristics of my dream. Am I a dream? Am I in a dream? I asked her, because I always lose something. I lose my wallet, my iPhone, or my luggage. I'm always traveling, and I'm always in a city that I recognize. So Shelley and I talk off every once in a while. We're going to take my Toby Eunice, my personal YouTube channel, which doesn't have anything on it, and all I'm going to do is get up every morning, look at the camera, and tell you my dreams. Cause
So Illinois Ghost says, many searchers have asked Forrest questions about the chest over the years. If Forrest knew about the DIA chest, why wouldn't he have directed us to it?
I don't think that Forrest did know about the DIA chest. I don't think it was common knowledge. I think it was discovered accidentally, and I think he was probably as surprised as anyone. We're going to talk about that tonight, as a matter of fact. I want to look at some of the pictures that the DIA has just released. So I got an email. Dang nabbit. I don't think I printed it out. I got an email. So I was probably one of, I don't know, hundreds, if not thousands of people that wrote the DIA and wanted more information. And on Wednesday, they responded kind of a form letter. Oh, I got to dig that up. And they said they sent a link to some photos, additional photos that they'd put on their website. The treasure chest weighs 17.5 pounds. It's a 1/4 inch short on each dimension of what Fenn, so it's within reason. But the implication of that is that it might have been a follow-on casting. Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And the interior cover is red velvet without any wood, much unlike Fenn's chest. So we'll talk a little bit more about that tonight. So this, I'm sorry, did you have another one?
Well, Minotaur had said something about the cache. He said, don't they think the Clovis cache was found Rock Springs, Purple Sage, Green River, Wyoming, or do I have that wrong?
I think that was the other cache. I don't think it's ever been determined where the Clovis cache was discovered. As a matter of fact, I think, if I remember correctly, it was the one that there was a possibility that it had been discovered near the Colorado-Utah border, somewhere around there. Hi, Toby. You talk about BLM as an office to get maps and land ownership. It isn't really land ownership. It's more like land responsible party. If you want ownership, you have to go to the county courthouse for each place. I'm familiar with the acronym. Can you help me out? That's from Tim. You talk about the BLM. I'm familiar with the acronym. Can you help me out?
Maybe he's unfamiliar.
You think it's unfamiliar with the acronym? So the acronym BLM stands for Bureau of Land Management. And the Bureau of Land Management is responsible for administering the public lands other than National Park Service properties. So there's all this land, mostly in the western states, that are not public properties like Forest Service properties or National Park Service properties. They're free public properties. They're open public properties, and they can be used by the public for a variety of things. If Fenn hid a treasure, it is more likely, I don't want to say more likely, it is likely that he could have put it on BLM land because it is public land and it is not as administered in as strict a way as the National Park Service properties. But if you're living and most of that BLM land is in the western states, you see very little BLM west of the Colorado, New Mexico, Wyoming, Montana eastern borders. And that's because it's wide open land. It isn't owned by anyone. It's owned by the American people. And you can go to any BLM office in any of the western states, and they will generally have one map that covers the entire state. And I strongly recommend getting that one because what you will see on there is indications, very much like Fenn's map in the back of Too Far to Walk. You'll see the indications of what each land is. National Park Service administered properties, and that includes historical monuments. I think there are 27 different things that the types of land that the National Park Services administer. You'll see tribal land, you'll see private land, you'll see state land, and you'll see BLM land. And so all of those, the BLM is responsible for maintaining the integrity of those maps, of that that land survey. So the reason you want to always have a BLM map with you is you want to make sure that if your search extends, and we're going to talk about that tonight in this later question, if your trek for the treasure extends onto other than say BLM land, if it extends onto tribal land or private property or National Park Service lands, you want to know that. Because each one has a different set of restrictions. You cannot be digging in either tribal land or public land without getting yourself in big trouble and never owning the treasure. So Byron says, hello, Toby and Shelley. I heard an idea of placing a plaque in place of the treasure after announcing the find. I really like the idea, but it means not revealing the solve. I suppose you could still place the plaque and also reveal the solve so people can see for themselves exactly where the treasure was placed. Also, could a person do this and still retain their anonymity? What are your thoughts on these ideas? Well, so basically, I've never thought it was healthy to... so we covered this kind of territory a little while ago. And we said we would maintain our anonymity and that we would reveal to the media that the treasure had been located and recovered, and we would provide them evidence of, said recovery. And if if Fenn was still living, then that's how Fenn would find out. If he wasn't living, of course, it wouldn't make any difference. But it really depends upon where the treasure was resting when you discovered it. If it was on BLM land or if it was on national forest lands, your problems aren't going to be as big as if it was on anything else. If it was on tribal land, you're going to have problems. If you decide you want to announce where the treasure was when you found it, your solution. If it was on tribal land, private land, National Park Service land, you're going to end up in court one way or the other. Trying to own the treasure, basically. If it's on BLM land or national forest lands, you're going to have less of a problem. But in either case, I don't think there's any benefit in announcing where you discovered the treasure. I think at the most you could say, well, I found it in this state, and I think that would satisfy a lot of people. So I think announcing where you found the treasure and worse, putting a plaque there is just going to create a whole series of problems for you and perhaps, if you have one, your family. Okay, so this was kind of fun. So this is Susie R.F. Heckey and I were having a conversation over the past week, which started, I think, last Fenndango when she asked about these maps. She said, hello, Toby. How are you today? Thank you for doing your Fenndango shows. I am wondering if you had the chance to see which version of Too Far to Walk book you have, and if your copy of the map has the word highlighted, missing one of the letters G. My copy is the first printing, and the word highlighted is spelled correctly. Printings after that had one of the G's removed. So the topic I'm interested in hearing more about on the map typo is the poem. In the poem, the word answers versus answer. If it, if it was a typo, then why did Forrest Fenn not correct it when he made other changes to the map, including adding more color? In my opinion, he made the highlighted typo on purpose to draw your attention to look for more errors. Why is including the S in the original poem important? The letter count in the line, or the need to have the letter S in the line, because the purpose other than keep making the word plural? Does it have anything to do with the original poem being center aligned and the map poem being left aligned? See you tonight, etc., etc. Okay, so that stimulated me to do some stuff, kind of research kind of stuff. And what I'm going to do is I am going to switch over to my windows here, and you're not going to be able to see us for a little while here in just a second. But I want you to see some, I want you to see this. So so you're not going to be able to see Shelley and I because I didn't have the zoom image on here, but I do want to share this with you. And that is a picture of, I forgot his name now. His name is Wayne Evans. And he sent this picture and he says, water's high. And it looks like Wayne is out riding his mula. That's a mule there. Good looking mule. Good looking healthy mule. And Wayne looks like the kind of guy that would be able to handle that mule just fine up there at Waterside. So thank you, Wayne, for the picture. That was very kind of you, very thoughtful. Okay, so what you should be seeing now is an image of the map that came in the tube. This was the one that they sold for, I don't know, a couple $100. The one that I gave Jason. You remember seeing it on my back wall. The reason I know this is the map that was the large frameable map, the very large 22 by 32 map, is that little indication right there, that little compass. And the reason is that's the compass. You can't see in great detail, but that's the compass that's on the knife handle on Forrest's favorite knife, right? It's got a bone handle, and in the back they put a little compass. So this is the map. You can see the frame around here, the map frame. So I know this one is an image of the map that was the large frameable map. And as you can see in this version, the word highlighted, H-I-G-H-L-I-G-H-T-E-D, is correctly spelled. And that the word answers down here in the poem, the answers I already know, has the S, as in the book, The Thrill of the poem in The Thrill of the Chase. So when Susie asked me about which one I had, it turns out that I have edition 1, the first one of the first 3,000 that was published, edition 1, okay, of the Too Far to Walk, not The Thrill of the Chase. So I took a look at that, and I pulled out the map. Right. So this map has correctly spelled highlighted. I don't know if you're going to be able to oh, you can't see that. Hang on. I got to switch here again. So give me a second. All right. So this is the map that was in the back of Too Far to Walk. As you can see, I'm not as religious about destroying my various books as some people are. So, but I don't know if you can see that. Let me see how close I can get to that. So this one had the word highlighted is correctly spelled, but something I had never noticed before until Susie mentioned it, and that is there is no S on the answer. I already know. So unlike the map that I just showed you, which is an image of the map that was the poster map where highlighted is spelled correctly and answers is plural, the map that was placed in the back of the book, highlighted is spelled correctly, and this is the first edition, and answer is missing the S. Okay, I'll do that again right there. Answer. The answer I already know. Okay, so I thought that was weird. Hadn't even noticed it. Didn't even know it was necessarily a topic for conversation. But then I went looking on the internet and I found this map. And so this is actually a third version of this map. And this map highlighted is missing the G, H-I-G-H-L-I-G, there's no G right there, and is also missing the S. So that's actually three different, and I don't know where this map came from. This looks like a map that was in the book because it doesn't have the frame and it doesn't have the compass. So this map was, I don't know where, like I said, I didn't know where it came from. I was just doing a search and there was an image of this map. But it struck me, so this map looks more like one that would come out of the book. And this must be one of the follow-on editions. So what I want you guys all to do when you get a chance is, if you have a copy of Too Far to Walk, look at which edition it is, and then determine if your map in that edition is missing the G and or the S. Because in the first edition, it is not missing the G, but is missing the S. So one has to be like, how did it get, how did they manage to get the perfect map? And all of these were published, all of these were printed by Benchmark Maps. You can see it down here. The one in the book, here's the one in the book. There's the maker's mark, right? The benchmark. Oh, you can't see that. Dadgummit, I got to transition again. So here's the one in the book. here's the one in the book, and there's the benchmark maps logo. So they made all these maps. How is it that the only correct map seems to be the poster-sized map where the G is in highlighted and the S is in answers? And in Too Far to Walk, edition 1, I'm missing the S in answers. And in this one, and I don't, this apparently is another edition version, right? This one, both the G in highlighted, boom, right there, and the S in answers are missing. Curiouser and curiouser. So anyway, I know that Susie wanted some answers, and Susie, I don't have any answers, and the reason I don't have any answers is honestly I didn't know that there was, to the best of my knowledge, there are now 3 different maps: the poster map, the one that came in the first edition of Too Far to Walk, and then one that came from some other edition of Too Far to Walk. So what we've got to find out is, if you have Too Far to Walk, open up the front cover, and inside the first page, it says which edition it was, and then take a look at your map and see if it has the G in highlighted or the S in answers, or if they're both missing. You know, so we can maybe trying to figure it out, because she has a question. Why would he do this? Why would he allow this to happen? I mean, we know how meticulous he is. We also know that there are mistakes in almost every one of his books. We've seen mistakes in every one of his books, and I think part of the reason is that he is effectively self-published. He doesn't have a big publishing house behind him with multiple editors. He usually has, we know that our friend Jessica was the editor on Once Upon a While, and she's not. She's an English major. Is she an English major? English major, but not an editor. So there are mistakes in Once Upon a While. There are mistakes in Too Far to Walk. I'm sorry, The Thrill of the Chase. There are mistakes in Too Far to Walk, and now there is not just one set of mistakes on the map in Too Far to Walk. There are more than one mistake, especially on the maps. So Benchmark's got a thing going on. Okay, so I don't have an answer for you tonight, but I will do some research and see if I can come up with an answer for you soon. Do we have any questions in the room that need to be addressed before we go any further?
I don't think so. We're just kind of talking to each other a lot here. They want us to talk about something on the softer side, about what to do if your partner thinks you're crazy for being so obsessed with the chase.
You know what? Find somebody that isn't so obsessed and talk with them, and just accept that your partner, as a matter of fact, I'm communicating with someone who's experiencing that right now. They're happily married to the same person, but they can't talk to them about it because that person says they don't want to hear any more about it. And so what they wanted to do was basically just set up a phone call so we could spend some time talking about it. There is no the question I guess you have to ask yourself is whether or not your passion for this treasure hunt has gone too far. Is it too far, right? Is it too far when your partner is telling you you're freaking obsessed and I don't want to have anything to do with this. Don't talk to me about it anymore. That might be an indication. I don't know, and Shelley's better at this stuff than I am. So let me get Shelley's answer on this. So Shell, if you had a partner and you were, talking about the treasure, and your partner finally looks at you and says, you know what, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Tell us what we need to do at that point.
Well, that would be an indication to me that I'm too focused on myself and I need to pay attention to my partner and what they're interested in. And so I would say, okay, let's put that on the shelf for now. Let's talk about what you want to focus on. And I would try to get interested in what they wanted to talk about, because they might be feeling like left out. They might be feeling like they didn't get their turn to talk or to share their interest with you. So just make sure that they have their say in their moment to shine, because sometimes that's all it is.
Mm-hmm. Man in the Park, AGK, what would be the problem with revealing where warm water salt was located after the find. That's a question that I can't answer you, Man in the Park, because those are Fenn has said on more than one occasion. What happens after the treasure is recovered is up to the finder. So each finder is going to have a kind of different perspective. And since I'm not a finder, you don't have to convince me not to mention where warm waters halt, et cetera, et cetera. The argument at the moment is specious, since the treasure hasn't been found. So yeah, again, each treasure hunter has to do the finder of the treasure has to do what is right for themselves and for their family. And what Fenn has done is effectively given permission to do that. That, he hasn't quite used the phrase, once you find it, it's your problem, but he has said, whatever the finder wants to do, it's his treasure at that point. The title transfers.
I have a question from Elusive. And I think we made a video on this last year. They say, what is a good checklist before you actually spend the time and money and make a trip to go and search an area? Do you have a checklist you guys use? Not finance related.
Yes, we do. And there is if you'll go back to a video that we did, was it this year or last?
I think it was about a year ago.
Yeah, it's been a while since we did that video. And what we effectively said is, if you're ready to go boots on the ground, this has to be in place. These things have to be in place. Otherwise, you're just spending money and time that you can't afford. Well, maybe you can afford, but you don't want to spend. I don't know that I could do that off the top of my head, because it has been a while since we discussed that.
Well, the number one thing is that geographical precision of where warm waters halt. If you don't have that, you're not ready to go looking anywhere. Yeah,
we feel like the beginning and the end, there is a requirement for geographical precision. That means where warm waters halt and the blaze are geographically precise, we believe. And that if you don't have the geographic location with 6 digits of precision of where warm waters halt, don't waste your time.
Yeah, at least the first one. Yep. That's what we went with. If we couldn't explain exactly where it was and why it was there, then you're not ready.
Yeah. So our opinion. AGK Media, Minotaur Moreno says, what's your theory on why Powell, Wyoming has a circle on the map but missing the name? I have no theory on it. I hadn't noticed it. Minotaur, I haven't spent a lot of time with any of those maps other than to just, put them in a frame, basically. I have not looked at them in any great detail. I don't feel, personally, I don't feel like they're helpful to me. If anything, the deal was the deal. Our deal was like anything after 2013, which is where this map appeared, the Rocky Mountains appeared, the 4 states appeared. Anything after that time is just chatter. What is that stuff they drop out of B-52s to avoid rockets hitting them? It's chaff. It's chaff.
Oh, like the wheat and the chaff?
No. Like the chaff that comes out of an aircraft. One of the things that they used to. No, and it's not.
The waters.
No. One of the things that they used to drop out of aircraft back in the olden days, they don't have to do it anymore. They have more sophisticated means, but they used to drop strips of mylar, aluminum-coated mylar, out of the aircraft to confuse any rockets, any ground-to-air or air-to-air missiles that were coming in their direction. And the idea was to distract the air-to-air or the ground-to-air missile with the chaff, avoiding hitting the aircraft. It came out of B-52 bombers. It was a long time ago. And so we feel like after 2013, there was a lot of chaff.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, Minotaur, what's your theory on... Oh, okay, I answered that. Matt Bear says, AGK, I asked you many moons ago when you discussed this map that you have hanging of yours on the G. You ignored it. Oh, well. I must have hurt his feelings. I'm sorry, man. Brian Eagle's in the room. Hi, Brian. Long time no see. How are you doing? Jeremy Parnell's in the room. Okay, so let me do this.
So Jeremy apparently wrote a dissertation on the DIA chest, and I don't know where it's located, but...
Jeremy, if you want to share the link, you can't do it because you're not a moderator, but you can send it to a Gypsy's Kiss. Let me know that you've done it, and I'll post it for you if people want to read that dissertation. So I think that would be good. Jeremy's a bright guy, and he also is visually literate. So I think it would be really interesting to read. Yeah, send it to YouTube. I'm sorry, to a gypsyskiss@gmail.com, and I'll share it with the folks. Or the other. Oh, you can't do it. I don't think you can do that. I was going to say put it in the comments below, but if you send it to a Gypsy's Kiss, I'll make sure we can get it posted into the room before we leave tonight. So RF Hecky says, but isn't that it's your benchmark website? Wall maps are also very different. Okay, so Christina Jarrett is trying to get my attention. Well, Christina, just start with AGK Media, and it'll highlight it for us, and we'll see it. What is she trying to ask?
Or you can always text Toby.
View the softer side. View deleted. Oh, she's trying to get my attention. Oh yeah, wow. Christina, yeah, they're not going to let you. YouTube's not going to let you do that, Christina. Sorry. That's why it's hidden like that. Countermeasures, Eric. That's what they were. The chaff were a form of countermeasures. They don't use them anymore. They have more sophisticated measures now. But trying to get my attention, huh? Okay. All right. Lavender blonde. I'm wearing lavender tonight in honor of lavender blonde. Okay. I heard... Missy says, I've heard that Matt Bear actually is the home of Brown. Everyone get him. Mitzi. Right. Okay. So I did want to share with you one other, before we go to the DIA pictures. So there was one other thing, and this was actually a comment. And the reason I picked this one, I don't want this person to feel like I'm picking on them. I'm not picking on them. I just wanted to make some points here. Okay. This is from someone who signs on as DJ. It says, AGK Media, so simple that a child with the poem and a map and a specific question could solve it. Not complicated at all. First question, where does everyone go alone? Answer, to the toilet. Follow the turd. First line in the poem solves the warm waters question. Okay, this is going to be interesting. In 2010, the construction of a new sewage plant was announced for Bozeman, Montana. It would be opened in 2014. In 2010, the 24-year-old or older plant would take in the sewage, chop it up, then run it through chemicals and filters finally to boil the water, and the warm water was either recycled or pumped through a large pipe to the Gallatin River, where it cooled. Where warm waters halt. Brackets. Open parentheses, where warm waters halt, close parentheses. In the poem, you would take the Gallatin River south. Hang on, I'm popping my P's here. Just give me a second. In the poem, you would take the Gallatin River south to the mouth of the Gallatin Canyon. Open parentheses, canyon down, close parentheses. This is located at Browns Gulch and Spanish Creek Road. This is where you put in, and the end is nigh, near the end of the west. Also, the blaze on the west side of the mountain. Not Creek Cabin, which is, by the way, is painted brown. Park and unload your horse in the parking lot and follow Spanish Creek 16 miles to the blaze. Yow. The horse is packed with saddlebags with half of the gold, a heavy load because the grade is very steep for a horse. Spanish Creek is followed up the creek. Holy moly, no place for the meek. Danger Will Robinson. Up to the water high, Spanish Lakes, rinse and repeat. What is missing from Forrest Fenn's map? I just figured it out. X marks the spot is missing. Ask Fenn why there is no X marks the spot in the poem. What is the Blaze? Blaze Mountain, Montana, 10,200 feet elevation. All treasure maps are supposed to have X marks the spot. The X is made on top of the Blaze, 300 feet from the chest. The last clue. Look quickly down. Down is a steep hill. Your search to cease. Follow the glacier downhill. It is straight line about 300 feet from the X past the... Okay. So this is it's actually a comment on last week's video. Very detailed explanation. So I tried to follow it. Here we go again. I'm going to transition here. I tried to follow what he was describing, and this is what I got. So this is simply a Google map of going from Bozeman, Montana to actually it's Bozeman Mount, Montana, which is where near the processing plant that he describes. It's 52.4 miles. Now he, I think, recommends that you do something up here because the Spanish lakes are right in here. You're going to see that in just a minute. But that's 52.4 miles, and that gets you into the National Forest and onto a forest road that ends right there. Here's the problem. That forest road that he describes ends right there. Blaze Mountain is right there, and it is not 10,200 feet, it's 10,309 feet. So what Forrest, and this distance here between the end of this forest road and that right there is 2.4 miles as the crow flies. The challenge would be, at this point, you're at 9,000 feet. You would have to climb this mountain to 10,000 feet down in this valley, and those are the Spanish lakes right there, down to 9,000 feet, back up to 10,000 feet, and Fenn would have had to do that, horse or no horse, 4 times. The plausibility of doing that, I believe, is slim to none, and in addition, Blaze Mountain is on private property. So it's a very complex solution, but the minute your solution gets bigger than, say, I don't know, I'm going to say a mile and cut him some slack here. The minute your solution is 52 miles plus 2.4 miles worth of trekking back and forth 4 times, the possibilities for inclusion of various things are tremendous. They go by each mile, you know, I'm not going to say it's an order of magnitude. At least each mile, you're going to increase the number of possibilities by a significant percentage. And when you do that, then you lose all rationality in terms of not nine clues. How many of the 9 clues are, how many times would you find 9 similar clues, one of those 9 clues in 52 miles of driving, and then 2.4 miles of hiking in the mountains between 9,000 and 10,300 feet. So I don't know. I don't feel good about that solution. But that's why we say our solution is 1,000 feet or less, because after that, it gets crazy. Crazy, I tell you. Okay.
Well, Eric Schmidt posted the link to Jeremy's article.
Oh, good. Good.
In the Hint of Riches forum, and Eric has posted that. So if anybody's interested, just click on that and find it.
Yeah. You can trust that, at least in my opinion, in our opinion, you could trust that Jeremy has done a great job of analyzing. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm just going to kind of give you my opinions based on what I saw real quickly. I didn't, I got this email. Let me see if I can find it. So I got this email on Wednesday, and I guess it was just a form response, a standardized response that this woman who's the curator at the DIA responded to a bunch of people with the same questions. And basically she said the Fenn, the box that they have, they've taken more photos and they posted them, that the box weighs 17 plus pounds, that it doesn't have a wood, what do you call it? Lining, and that it's lined in red velvet. And then the dimensions she gives are within a 1/4 inch of the dimensions that Fenn has described his treasure chest in. And I'm not sure whether or not that would work. So what I'm going to show you now are, I'm going to flip over, and here we go, and we're going to transition again. And you can't see either Shelley or I. And here's the additional pictures they put up at the Detroit Institute of Arts. And so I will add that, although you probably already have seen this. I'd be surprised if you hadn't seen it. So this is lighted differently. What they do with artwork is they try to light it at daylight, 5600 Kelvin, and they use a white background, and it goes gray because of the way they do the light. And that's, again, the way they do most of this stuff. So that's the front of the treasure chest. I'm going to show you a couple of things that I think are very different from Fenn's treasure chest. The evil hound dog. I didn't realize how evil this thing looks. Looks pretty evil. But I want you to notice the feet. And the reason the feet are so important is because you don't cast the feet. You braise them on after the casting if you decide to add feet. So these were not part of the feet that you see here, and on Fenn's chest as well, were not part of the casting. They are added after the casting has cooled, and they braise whatever feet they want to put on that. Well, it turns out that the feet that they brazed on the DIA version have that line in the center, right? That is just an additional design feature that they added to those feet. So here's the picture of the, I don't know, devil dog. I'm not sure what that is, man, but it is mean looking, especially from the front. So here's the front picture. Mean looking devil, cat, dog, evilness. And then they give a bunch of pictures so I can tell you some of the things that I noticed. First of all, this particular one, the DIA version one, doesn't seem to be as finely done, as well rendered, if you will, as the Fenn treasure. Now, I've never seen the two, side by side, so I can't tell you. But just looking at the images from the DIA versus the images that have been released over the years of the Fenn treasure, it looks to me like the Fenn treasure is a little bit more refined, and it looks like the Fenn treasure chest has been. So one of the things that in a casting you would do, you would select certain spots, either the highlights or the lowlights in the bronze chest, and you would polish those. This seems to not have any polishing of any kind, the one in the DIA. It looks like it is pretty much aged the same way from beginning to end. So that was one thing I noticed. It just isn't as finely done. And again, here's another look at those feet, the one with the line across, okay? So another way to attach the feet is with screws, but these both date to a period. This might have screws on it, but generally speaking, there's a braze. The other thing I noticed is this little corner here has been bent down in the, that's on that would be the, as you're facing the box, it would be the right-hand side. Has a little bend in the corner. The back, one of the interesting things about the back is that if you look at the hinge is interestingly made. It's a tube and wire hinge is how they refer to it, and it's been used for hundreds of years. This is kind of a standard. If you look at my son Jason's tin work, or my mother's tin work for that, or my great-grandfather's tin work, they use the tube and wire hinge, and it dates back to the Spanish colonial times, which would have put that in the 1600s. Whether or not it goes back to the 1200s is another question, but it is, other than the flap hinge, that was the easiest way to do things. The question is, could you draw a wire thin enough to fit in those tubes? And could you draw the tubes? I know that when Jason does it, he actually makes the tubes from tin. He has a small pin-shaped mandrel, and he wraps the tin around it, and then he solders it on one end to make the tube. And they're very finely made. I mean, they're little tiny tubes, not much bigger than a chest. Well, what I noticed about this is that, this one, if you look at the hinges, there are 3 hinges, this end, the center, and the far end, that are attached to the top of the box, and the 2 hinges that are attached to the main part of the box rather than the top. So remember that, 3 to the top, 2 to the box itself. So we'll take a look at that. And again, the artwork just doesn't look as fine as the one that I've seen as the artwork on Fenn's box. Okay, so I won't, this is the box opened up. There is no wood interior. There is only velvet covering it. And to me, I find that surprising. I'm surprised that there isn't something that the velvet is attached to, because then basically what you would have to do is glue the velvet, find some way to glue the velvet to the box. And the thing about gluing velvet to the box is that it doesn't stay long. The glue's not going to last. You would end up repairing that over and over and over again, while wrapping it around a flat piece of wood and then placing it in the box would keep it much longer. So I would love to get a closer look at how the velvet is constructed in the box. So this was the one that was most noticeable to me. This is the top of the box, and it was nowhere as near as refined as the one on Fenn's. And again, in these areas here, you can see these areas were not polished or buffed out. They were just left rough, if you will. That's not just dust and dirt carried there. That's just lack of polishing and buffing in the little places. Then I noticed on the front of this box, if you look at this keyhole, it looks like it's been countersunk, right? So there's a bevel on the edge right here, but the bevel on the edge goes inwards. So it looks like the entire round part of the keyhole looks like it's been countersunk to me. So let's go. So there's, I think, one more picture that didn't. It's just the devil dog again. Really ugly devil dog. This hinge I couldn't see much difference in. That's a standard kind of hinge for that. But let's go and look at Fenn's chest. And I didn't spend a lot of time looking for for pictures. But to me, this is much more much more refined version. The engraving, if you will, it wasn't engraving because it was cast, has more depth and more character to it. In addition, if you look at the little feet, there are no little circles on the feet. They were brazed on without the circles. So I thought there was another place. Right. Okay. So you can see here's the interior. Wait, I wanted to look at one other thing here. Give me a second because I wanted to see if that was. Yeah. See that right there? That's the top part of the hinge that would create the part of the lock. It's got that rounded kind of shape to it. I think in this one, it's square. See that right there? So that's a square, while this one is round, or half round, right? So this is a half round, while the one at Fenn's chest is a square. And it does, in this case, that part of the whole thing doesn't look as refined, and there is no velvet. That's all just aged wood inside the chest, both on the top and inside the box itself. But here's the thing. Remember I mentioned that in the hinge, 3 of the hinge parts were attached to the top and 2 were attached to the box. In this case, it's the opposite. 3, the ones on the end and the one in the center, are attached to the box, and 2 are attached to the top. So it's exactly the opposite of what you see in the DIA version of this. So I think then the last thing, and I don't know if this will blow up anymore, but see right here, that's the keyhole, and it's the difference between an innie and an outie. So the one on the DIA has an innie, and the one on Fenn's chest has an outie, for lack of a better way to describe them. Okay? So they are very different. They are definitely not the same chest. The question is whether or not they were produced within a lifetime of one another. In the DIA, the details mention that they dated at the late 19th century, and that's perfectly plausible. If you look at the additional refinements that were made, it could very well have been the late 19th century, but Fenn's chest looks a little bit more aged. You know, it doesn't have the refined keyhole. It doesn't have that countersunk keyhole in it. It doesn't have the refinement of the half-round lock part up here. So it is very plausible that it was produced at a time other than the late 1900s. Whether or not it was produced in the 1200s, I don't know. I believe that most of the technology, technology being a word used loosely in this case, was available in the mid 1200s. We certainly know that this imagery, the siege imagery, whichever you choose, some call it the siege of the Castle of Love, some call it the attack on the church, etc., etc. But that siege imagery was very common in medieval times, in the Middle Ages. And so it's not an unusual scenery. And I'm wondering if somehow this casket, that is the one that's at DIA, may be a distant grandchild of the casket in which Fenn hid his treasure. Okay? So that's all I got to say about that. But they're very different from one another. And there are significantly visible distinctions between the two. Okay, so let me switch back here.
Well, it seems that Jeremy has developed some sort of upper respiratory infection. He's coughing a lot. And saying, cough right panel.
Oh, so the right panel. Okay. So the right panel, I guess, it depends which way you're looking at it. So if you're looking at it at the chest, I don't see it. So this would be the right panel. So we've got the ladder shape and I don't know what that is. So let me look at the casket one. Right panel. So it looks like that's the right panel. I mean, honestly, they're just not very refined. They almost look like they're so badly defined. They look like aliens. So okay, Jeremy, I don't have any image that shows enough detail for me to make any distinction. So please, if you've included that in your analysis, please let us know, because I can't. The images that I have on here aren't.
He says the theme is common.
The exact design is not. Yeah. I don't think you could have that, since every artist is going to interpret that theme in its own way.
He says in the left and back, the two figures are facing each other. On the right panel, they face the same direction.
Okay, so on the right panel, they face the same direction. Is that true of both? See, I can't tell. It looks like on Fenn's right panel, they're facing the same direction. So on the front, they're in opposite directions. So let's see. Let's do this again. Yeah. So there's the right panel. There's the back when they're opposite directions. And there's the left panel. So I think what he's trying to point out is that on the right panel of both chests, the ladders are both ascending in the same direction, while on the back, the left, as you're facing it, and the front, they are ascending in opposite directions. Now the question is that true of both?
He says it is.
Yeah.
It's an error duplicated in both.
Oh, here's interesting. So it looks so. I guess Jeremy, would we have to agree is which is right and which is left? Because to me, as I'm facing the chest, this would be an image of the left panel, and it looks like the left panel in the chest has the ladder climbers both going in the same direction, and I can't tell. I'm going to have to find that. So it looks like, oh, interesting. So from this perspective, from what I can tell right here, it looks like, let me transition again because they can't see what I'm doing here. So this is what Jeremy is trying to point out is this is the front panel, and you can see the ladder climbers are opposing. They're climbing in opposite directions. This is, and I'm assuming we're all agreeing that if you're looking at the chest from the front, this would be the right-hand panel, okay? And you can see on the DIA version, the ladder climbers are going in the same direction. This is the back. The ladder climbers are going in opposite directions, and this is the left, and the ladder climbers are going in opposite directions, right? So here's what's interesting to me is that this is the front of Fenn's chest. I've never seen the back, so I don't know. The front of Fenn's chest, they're going in opposite directions. I can't see the right, but the right looks to me like they're going in the same direction, which is the same, right? So let me go back to the right side here. So this is the right. They're going in the same direction. In this one, it looks like they are also going in the same direction. Here's what's curious to me. On the left side of the DIA box, that's the left because there's the lock. They're going in opposite directions. Now look at the left side of the Fenn box. So on the sides of the Fenn box, they are both sides of the Fenn box. The ladder climbers are going in the same direction. In the DIA box, the left are going in opposite directions, and the right are going in the same direction. So again, another indication that it's a completely different box. One has to wonder whether or not these castings would that be possible. So they're both.
Well, he says that you're looking at Fenn's picture. The picture of Fenn's box is flipped. It is mirror imaged or something. So that the only difference that he found was the locking mechanism. Otherwise, they were the same.
So he's saying that this is a flipped image?
Yeah, the Fenn box that you have.
So give me a second here. So I'm going to take this down and, I'm really asking for it here. I'm going to have, okay.
Because it's you and Jeremy need to sit down with this. Everybody else is like, who cares?
Who cares? Okay. So Jeremy, let me take a look at it. And I can't tell this look. Yeah, I think you're right because that looks like CES. So that's the CES lettering right there backwards. So you're right. It is flipped. That means this is, that image is flipped and the other image is flipped. Okay. I think I agree with you. But let me take a look at it when we get a chance rather than driving everybody crazy here. Okay, so we've done that. We've done boxes. We've done images. Okay. Yeah, Brian, it is this image that I was looking at is reversed because the cogito ergo sum CES imagery is backwards. Yeah, Minotaur, it is backwards. The CE on the one that I was showing. So, all right. Fenn goes to the top of the base. Yeah. I think what we can all agree upon is that these are two very different boxes. They are not the same chest. What we don't know is why the DIA has one that was donated to them by Mr. and Mrs. Hang on, it was donated by Mr. and Mrs. John L. Booth. And it's in their European Sculpture and Decorative Arts wing. So I don't know if it's out there or if it's in their archive. So we'll have to go and find out. Shall we go to Detroit? Do we have any reason to go to Detroit?
It's cold there.
Well, it is now, but they have summer in Detroit.
And then probably mosquitoes, because, yeah.
Mosquitoes. Okay, before we lose any more people, so what are we going to do? Oh, we got to read some text. Okay, we got some text on the phone. Then I will open up the phone lines, all right?
All right.
Okay. So this is from Trip. He says, Toby, on the topic of heavy loads, have you ever considered an area where fowl are hunted? Heavy loads refer to the shot preferred for such game. I hadn't thought about that. No, I hadn't thought about it. That was an easy one. Let's see. AJ from West Virginia. I'm not sure you are receiving my emails. Oh, that was AJ Rainville, the guy that we were. Okay. Hi, Toby. My name is Nathan. I go by Nemo in the chat rooms. I'm driving through Albuquerque this evening and thought I would text and say hi. When was that? Yesterday. Hey, Nemo, you know what? When you send me a text message on this number, I don't actually look at them until Friday, so I'm sorry I missed you. We could have gotten together for coffee or something. Okay, here is a voicemail from Heather. Okay, so we're going to listen to the voicemail from Heather, okay? So I can't promise anything because I don't, just has her own way about saying things, so we're just going to go, okay?
Hi, Noby Toby.
Noby Toby?
And Shelly from the softer side. Lady Oracle, the woman of many talents. It's Heather Dawn from Wyoming. I am so super excited. First of all, I got to tell you, I am working on talking slow and calmly. Yay.
Thank you.
Congratulations for me. I get a gold star.
Yes, you do.
And then I got to tell you, I ordered the Thrill of the Chase today from Collective Bookworks, and I'm going to get a signed copy. I'm excited about that. And I ordered Once Upon a While, the revised edition. I'm super excited about that. And I'm sorry, I got ADHD. I can't follow the Udemy course. And I am working on getting a better laptop so I can develop my YouTube channel. And I've been asking you guys if you could do a reading for me on Lady Oracle. I don't even know if Lady Oracle is doing anything, but anyways, I want to make this short and sweet. So, namaste, and let us light workers stick together. Talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye.
Okay. Well, maybe we should give her a refund on her Udemy course if she's having trouble following.
Or just whatever help she might need. But if she's getting a new laptop, perhaps that'll help.
That'll help a little bit.
If that doesn't solve the situation, then we can give her some extra help.
Maybe it's time for Lady Oracle to give her a reading.
Leave me an email. Let me know what your question is.
And then you could do the reading.
With your email, and I will do it.
Hi, Toby and Shelley. Do you have any opinion on the significance of 66,000 links north of Santa Fe? Yes, our opinion is that entire diatribe was not written by Forrest Fenn. We wanted to cover that in a video, but we never got around to it. So we don't think that whole 66,000 links response on Richard Saulnier's blog was Forrest Fenn. It doesn't resemble Forrest Fenn and his writing. So.
That's right.
Now, there's nothing wrong with the estimate. I mean, the fact that 66,000 links as an engineering measure turns into 8.25 miles, we think, but Fenn used the number after that. And if you look at the way it was written, it just doesn't sound like Forrest Fenn.
And it wasn't, well, the name was misspelled. His name was misspelled. Forrest Fenn was misspelled, for one thing. He wouldn't misspell his own name.
Yeah.
And it wasn't signed with the F at the end like he always does when he answers questions on Jenny Kyle's site. So we didn't think it was Forrest's work, but he never disputed it either. So he never came out and said, that wasn't me, and I didn't say that, and I don't agree with it. He never said that. So we don't know 100% sure either way.
It was part of the mythology that he allowed to continue, which people who are Forrest Fenn would want to continue. Okay, this is from James in Texas. Do you think the blaze is a mark on or in a tree? No, we think the blaze is something, we believe, geological, because that would have permanence. Anything on a tree would not have the kind of permanence that Fenn would like. And since it's the last point of 9 in the treasure hunt, it has to be fairly precise, and it has to have some kind of longevity. So we don't think it's on a tree. James from Texas again, would Fenn's dislike of the government increase chances that the treasure could be inside Yellowstone? So I think you have to make the assumption that he dislikes the government. He probably dislikes the government as much as everybody else dislikes the government anytime they get in our business. But I don't think that would necessarily cause him to put it in Yellowstone, because at that point it wouldn't be his problem. It would be a problem for the finder. So whether that to me would indicate that he would like it to make it as easy for the finder to own the treasure once the finder found the treasure, and not have to deal with the park supervisor at Yellowstone National Park, because it's just going to create a whole set of problems. You might, as a finder in Yellowstone National Park, eventually own the treasure, but it's going to cost you time and money, and you're just going to make some attorney rich. AGK Media, with Fenn answering that he's umbilically attached to that special spot, and also how he gets almost teary-eyed when he talks about it in some of the interviews, do you think we can rule out many places and spaces that have no relation to his life stories and places he mentioned in his books? No, I don't think you can do that. I don't think necessarily that if you had a special place, you would publicize it as part of your life story or put it in your books. It is more likely to me that the special place is his secret and perhaps someone he shared with people who were special to him. I always imagined he shared it with perhaps his father, or he shared it with his friend Eric Sloan. But I think it is less likely that he would talk about it in a way that was more public as something in the book, or the places that he went to in his book. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we were talking with Cynthia about Fishing Bridge. Fishing Bridge is mentioned in the book in a very soulful way. I don't think that would be a special place. It was just some place where he fished, and he was there with his family, and he had fond memories of it. Shelley and I were talking about this the other day. We were watching, what were we watching? Fair Game. And I asked why Valerie Plame's father knew how to throw a lasso, how to spin and throw a lasso. And she said, well, you do.
I said, yeah, you do.
Yeah. And I've done that to my grandkids. But the reason was I grew up on a ranch in northern New Mexico. And I didn't grow up my summers. I spent my summers at our ranch in northern New Mexico. And so I learned a lot of those things. And if I were to ever write a memoir, I would dedicate one section to my summers in northern, at that ranch in northern New Mexico. But it's not where my special place is. I don't think of that as my special place. And so I think the special place, in order to be special, has to be his and his alone, unless he shared it with one or two people who are no longer living, because two can keep a secret if one of them is already dead. So I guess the way to answer your question is I don't think I don't think his special place appears either in reality or metaphorically, allegorically, in his books. I think his special place is his and his alone, and whoever finds the treasure. Where do warm waters halt? Where do warm waters halt? Oh, that was cute. 248, I don't know that. We don't. If we knew, we'd go looking for the treasure again. The only thing that we can tell you about our perception of warm waters is that it has to be a precise location that is stable, because it's the beginning of the treasure hunt. Michael Hool is...
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I like that for Michael Hool, because he's kind of dark, isn't he?
So I have a question from Elusive.
Yeah.
What has been said about the blaze attributes? And before you get into it, a good place to check for anything we may miss about the blaze would be terryscant.com. Just type in blaze and you'll get as many references as are out there about the blaze.
Yeah.
All I know is he said it could not be easily removed. Those aren't the exact words, but it was not practical to remove the blaze.
Right. So make Terry Scant your friend. Make Terry Scant your content friend. So I got to go another voicemail. It says, let's see what we got here.
Hey, Toby, this is Jeremy calling in. If you want to call me back, feel free.
Okay,
Bye.
Let's call Jeremy back.
Okay.
All right, conversation going. And we're going to go to that.
Hello. Ring, ring.
Hello?
Hey, Jeremy, it's Toby.
Hello?
Hello, Jeremy. Wait, hang on. Don't go away.
Hello?
Hang on. Let's see. What am I doing here? Got to do that. Jeremy,
Don't
can you hear me?
away.
Don't go away. Jeremy, stay right there. Oh, why can't he hear me?
I don't know.
Let's see. That's in the right place. Stay there. That's the echo. We don't want to do that. That's that.
I feel like there's a bad connection. I'll try calling you.
Okay, do that. Can you hear me? Let's see if he calls back. Won't answer. So Maybe I'm not allowed to do that, to call out. No, I've called you before on the 800 line, haven't I?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if he calls and we can change that algorithm there. Okay, so this is aux is on there and aux is on there. I got to do it without feedback. What?
The car wrote it out for us. While it is not impossible to remove the blaze, it is not feasible to try.
Thank you for doing that for us.
I found that on terryscant.com. So let's give a little shout out to terryscant.com. If you guys haven't checked that out yet, if you're new to the search, excellent place to go for research, to be able to find, these little elusive things that that you may wonder about.
No pun intended. Huh?
I know, right? Patricia Marine wrote something, but you're going to have to read it.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Where is it? I don't see it.
It's between Matt Bear and Elusive.
Okay, there's Elusive. There's... okay.
You see it?
Si tú me preguntas cuál es mi lugar, prefiero debería las montañas. Un lugar especial no tiene que ser un punto específico. Es que lo creo. Well, so what Patricia is saying, if you were to ask me what is my preferred, my special place, I would say the mountains. A special place, a place that's special doesn't need to be a point, a specific point. That's what she believes. So she was just making a point that you could say if someplace special is, we say, if you were to say someplace special and our response is the Rio de los Pinos, what she's saying is it could be the Rio de los Pinos without saying it's, 2 miles down from the point at which the road crosses the river on the Rio de los Pinos where the opening to Toltec Gorge begins. So that's the point that she's making.
Minotaur says,
Gracias, Patricia.
I recently turned 40 this past January. Knowing what you know now, if you could, what would you today tell your 40-year-old self for back then as advice for the future?
Oh.
Your kids will make it through school.
Yeah. So I would tell my 40-year-old, don't worry about your kids. They'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah, I know, right?
Stop thinking about retirement. It's not going to happen. And and whether you like it or not, you're going to live past 55. So plan for it, right? Because I had this impression that I was going to die at about the same time my father passed away, and sure enough, I came close to it. But I didn't expect to live. I just celebrated my 70th, and I didn't expect to be this long, and so I didn't make plans around that. And I didn't make plans about getting kids through college and watching them grow up and raise families and things like that. So the advice that I would give in the simplest terms possible is believe in the potential for your future and make it a long and active one. It'll be a lot more fun. That's what I would tell my 40-year-old self. Don't allow yourself to believe you're not going to make it past 55. You're going to live to at least 70. Ta-da! So here I am. You think?
And I would tell myself.
What would you tell yourself?
I would say focus on gratitude. When you're happy and grateful for what you have, then you have everything you need.
Wow. Yeah, Minotaur, go back and look at our Softer Side show from yesterday. We discussed a couple of these things. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I know what's wrong. Dang nabbit.
Put the mute on?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't open it up?
I didn't open it up. That's what's the matter. So let me try calling him again. Hold on. Let me open it up. Do not disturb. I'll bet you that's what it is.
Poor Jeremy.
Oh, poor Jeremy. Let me try. I'm going to try it again. So that is Jeremy. I'm going to try it. Let me see if we can. I'm going to play that again just because I like.
Hello?
Hey, Jeremy, can you hear me now? Oh, no, he can't hear me.
Tell me you can hear me.
I can hear you.
You have him muted?
Okay, well, I can't hear you, so let me turn my computer volume on.
Okay, let's try that. It's going to be weird because it's going to be delayed by just a little bit. Why can't he hear me?
I don't know.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, can you hear me now?
No?
No.
Yes, but I feel like the delay is a little awkward.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, it
I
is
just
a
wanted to
little
say
awkward.
I'm a huge fan. I love you guys both.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm sorry.
You can just let him have his say
Right.
before he hangs up.
Okay. Before you hang up, give us a little bit of your expertise.
Okay, well, so I'll just have my say. So if you go to Thor, there's a really lengthy, it's like 11 pages of posts. But the gist of it is that, in my opinion, the chests are nearly identical. Like the fundamental core pieces of the chest are the same. There are some pieces that are a little bit different, like the locking mechanism. A lot of people have noticed that there's a block above the keyhole. That part, I feel like, was added after the original chest, which I believe was probably the DIA chest. I also was able to track the design down to a 19th century book of Renaissance art that was published in Germany, and a lot of that detail is in there as well. So I encourage you guys to check it out. I feel like it's a pretty compelling argument that both chests are from the 19th century and that Forrest came later, but I'll let you guys decide. I'm not trying to convince anybody. I just, I just find it very interesting, and I encourage everybody to check it out.
Well, I will read it. You can't hear what I'm about to say, but I will read it, and I do trust that you've made a reasonable argument because I kind of know that you certainly have the skills to do it. So we'll take a look at it. And I got to figure out what's going on with the phone. Why can't we hear anybody?
You were going to figure it out as soon as the show's over tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, this is it.
Okay, well, I'll let you guys go. I just wanted to say I'm a huge fan, and I hope to see you guys someday. But in the meantime, I'll keep watching your show.
Well, if we ever find ourselves not in your direction, we'll come and visit.
All right.
All
Good
right.
luck.
Okay. Shell, do me a favor. Call me. Call the 800 number. Let me see if this is just something that's going to make me crazy. Because what's the use of having a number if we can't answer the phone? Dang nabbit. Dang nabbit. Okay. Well, anyway, if you guys have some more questions, you can always text them to I am getting the text messages. I'm not sure why the phone isn't working. Dang nabbit. Dang nabbit. Greg Ferguson is in the room. Hey, Greg.
Tell me the number again.
Oh, it's 866-597. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on just a sec. Let me make sure I've got the right number. 866-597. It is. Do not disturb is off. Done. Okay. 866-597-9901. Try it.
9901.
So this is going to be weird because I've got you on both headsets now. Okay, let me see if Shelley's going. Okay, I accept the inbound message. You are on. Can you hear me on the phone?
Yes.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait. I hear myself on the phone.
Oh, that's because, okay, hold on. Let me fix that.
I don't hear you. No, I don't hear you on the phone.
You don't?
No, I hear you on the phone.
I hear you on my headset. Can you hear me now?
Not on the phone. Not on
Okay.
the phone.
All right. I'll figure it out, guys. Dang nabbit. Okay, you can say bye. So why can't I hear anybody? Okay, well, you can... that's how Toby picks up women. Call my 800 number. It is not how I pick up women. I pick up women in bars. No, I don't. I'm just teasing. That's not. So why isn't my... Dang nabbit. I went to take a picture of this for our header, and I moved things around, and I probably messed things up. FX is all down. FX is supposed to be down. AUX is supposed to be up on the caller. Oh. All right.
Audio wants to know, did you have the mute on the phone?
No, it's they're all okay. Their audio is up, and the mutes are up. The only yellow light is Shelley, and that's because she's not here. She's there. Sue, okay. Well, it's 8:40, and I can't take any inbound calls, and I think we've answered... why do I feel like I'm in a Verizon commercial? And I don't see any more questions. Any more questions?
Oh, look, Rodney Greenway stopped by.
Rodney, hey, brother. Haven't seen you in a while. I saw your metal detecting videos. Those were cool. I love metal detecting. I wish I had more time to do it. Denise Bagley
wants to know, weren't we going to be live on Wednesday? Yes, we had planned to, but we just couldn't get a panel to show up.
Yeah, we were going to do a panel, and we had kind of a topic, but all our panelists were tied up. Literally.
No, not literally.
Okay. Big controversy over searching in the snow today. Oh, sorry, I missed it. I thought the big controversy was... Jeremy P. is in the house. He is indeed. All right. So first of all, we will see. So we are definitely going to do a show next Wednesday night. It's going to be the Wednesday night version of the Friday Fenndango, right? It is not going to be a panel, but we've had requests to do these. Now, if it turns out that it just doesn't generate any interest, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to read emails, read texts, talk about the things that are being talked about, and address them from this perspective to give you guys a chance to talk about them. By that time, I will have figured out what's wrong with my phone connection.
So will Wednesday be in lieu of Friday, or it will be like
no. We are going to do the Wednesday. We're going to do Wednesday, and we're going to do Friday. Right now, I will advise you guys. The reason we can do it next week is I'm closing on the house next week that I bought with all the treasure that we found. No, I don't mean that. Don't mean that. Just teasing. He's
not even putting a down payment on it. It's
a VA loan, for God's sakes. It's as cheap as it can get. But after that, then there's the move. And so there may be a week and a half period there where I'll be between apartment and new house, and utilities won't have time to get in. So we may miss us, but we will post it on our community page. So we will let you know what's happening. But for the foreseeable future, we're going to do Wednesday and Friday nights, and we're going to try and do a panel about once a month on Wednesday nights. So we will continue to do panels once we get them. Once we get them to get people together. I guess it just wasn't an interesting enough topic to stimulate. And Michael couldn't be there because he was working. Cynthia couldn't be there because she was traveling. So, let's see. Well, no, Rodney, we had this all figured out. The 1-800 number has been working perfectly up until this week. So it's on a. I wish I could show you this. I don't know how I show you this. Let me see if I can do this.
Get all our tech people.
See that? It's all part of that monster right there. And all it takes is one little faux pas of a knob on that monster, and a thing stops working. And that's what happened tonight. So it's weird because I could hear the call. I just couldn't get the call, and I could hear the caller, but I couldn't get it back to him, and that's because
not that again. Oh boy.
No. It's the AUX, and I messed with all these knobs the other day because I was taking a photograph of this surface that I was going to use for a picture that we were doing, and I aligned all the knobs, and that was a mistake because they weren't aligned before. So, AGK, thank you for your service. Thank you for your support. I was happy to have served, as did my father and my son. So we're a service family. We're not lifers, though. None of us are lifers. Yeah, Brian Eagle, who's doing turds again? Enough with the turds, guys. Jesus. The knobs are no place for the meek, says Elusive. Yeah. Okay. So have you got anything else you want to say, Shelley Carney? Peace, love, and good food?
No.
No, nothing?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Well, then I think it's time. So thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight. We had a great time. We will see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for lots more talk about the Fenn treasure. Want to say your good nights? Shelley Carney.
Okay, on behalf of AGK Media, I'm Shelley Carty. I want to thank you for being here this evening, and I'll see you next time.
And I'm Toby Eunice. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Okay, here's your